Hi, my name is Pablo Zabaleta and I welcome you to this video where we will be covering Chapter 3, World-Class Operations of the Heizer and Render book. Now, as always, our outline. The reasons for taking operations to a global level, and second, what are the world-class operations strategies. Only those 2 points we will be covering in this video. Now let's start with the reasons for taking operations to a global level. First, we need to improve the supply chain. That is regarding our suppliers. As we've stated before, we cannot do world-class products unless we have world-class inputs. And that means improving our supply chain and taking it to its highest level possible. The second part regards transformation. We need to do our best there. We need to learn how to improve our operations and take them to the highest level. We need to capture the best brain power available, and we need to learn how to reduce costs. And lastly, in our process, we have to think about the distribution. We need how to deliver better goods and services adapted to different markets, and we need to access new markets. So let's delve a little bit deeper into each one of them. Reasons for world-class operations. Improving the supply chain. Labor, that means either we get cheaper labor or we get best brains. The best people we must capture. It's not a truism only that the most important asset of a company are its people. It is true. Remember that we talked about the 3 variables of productivity, and of those, the most important one was management. And it's not robots who manage. It's not artificial intelligence who manages a company. It's people. We need to get the best people for our company. Second, we need to get the best suppliers. Yes, supplies are crucial. If we don't get the best supplies, we won't be able to make the best product. And third are the conditions. We need to get those supplies cheaper, faster, in order to create a more robust and resilient supply chain. Our supply chain mustn't concentrate itself only on getting things cheaper. That would be myopic. We need to have a very robust supply chain. Now, learning how to improve operations, and that is regarding transformation. Remember always that knowledge is the basis for any successful adventure. We need to be able to do our things the best possible way. The best practices must be incorporated into our processes without any doubt. Otherwise, we lose our competitive advantage. Then we have to learn how to capture and retain the topmost brain power. Remember, we are, whether we like it or not, in a knowledge economy. And by brain power, we don't mean only intelligence people. We need motivated people, people who can focus themselves, people who are better trained, who know more. And if you think that we can attract and retain them just by putting money on the table, that's a mistake. Today, people check out their companies to see if it's a good working place. if they have a good work-life balance there. If they don't have those conditions, they won't come to work with you. So it's not as easy as saying, we can hire. No. That's a fool's vision. Don't do it. You want the best, you must try to create those conditions. Remember always, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Cost reductions regarding manpower, taxation, looser regulation, yes. Essentially, what we're trying to do is to make a more efficient allocation of the company's resources. Yes, we will try to lower costs, but remember, always, we must keep in mind people's dignity. How do we deliver better goods and services? Well, for one, we suit our services or goods to our customers' tastes. For example, in Switzerland, Fanta is a little bit more brown than in the United States. Sodas like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Fanta, Orange, Sprite, etc. in Latin America tend to have a better taste than in the US. Why? Because they are sweetened with sugar, not with corn syrup. So there's a lot of people who buy their Coca-Cola in the United States made in Mexico because they believe that it tastes better. Second is how do we have a better and faster response? Today's customers expect their products or services immediately. They don't want to wait. One of the secrets behind Amazon's success has been next day delivery. When they started with Amazon Prime, everybody said those guys are crazy. Nobody's going to pay $100 to pay in order to have the privilege of buying. They're nuts. Okay, they have had to rethink their position because Amazon has been very, very successful with that. We need to access new markets. First, because we need to interact with local actors and learn more. But second, because we can get the most out of a product's life cycle. If you recall, we can enlarge the product's life cycle by accessing new markets. So, how do we do all of this? We try to adapt to reality, or we change it. Successful companies are those that define the rules of the game. And that implies supplier and supply chain design and development, product design, process design and technology, location analysis. Be very clear about the importance of culture and ethics in the impact of our company's operations. How do we schedule and how do we deliver? And all this is under the umbrella of the critical success factors. So now, just to wrap this up, let's talk a little bit about the strategies for world-class operations. We can have in one axis local sensitivity considerations and the other cost reductions. Well, if you have low cost and local sensitivity considerations, you have an international company like, for example, US Steel or Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson doesn't modify its models according to the markets. They just create their models and you must accept it. There's no local consideration. Just keep your costs low or as low as you can possibly manage. Now, if your costs considerations are very high, you try to be very, very low cost because our customers are very sensitive to cost. But you don't care about sensitivity considerations, then you have world projection. For example, Caterpillar. They don't care at all about local considerations, sensitivities. Why? Because their machines are not subject to that parameter. They are just worried about creating the best machinery at the lowest cost possible. Of course, microchips, elevators, that kind of stuff. Now, when you go with higher sensitivity considerations, then you have a multinational. Some examples are Heinz, McDonald's, the Body Shop. McDonald's, whether you believe it or not, when they sell in a place like Mexico, they sell with very hot sauce. They have available salsa mexicana. But when they sell in France, they don't have that hot sauce. But they have other cheeses, for example. When they sell in other countries, for example, in Muslim countries, they don't put pork in their products. Because for Muslim culture, pork is a no-no. And finally, we have some transnationals like Nestlé, Coke, where they have very, very high sensitivity considerations for local sensitivities, and they are also worried about costs. So Nestlé sells products that are adapted to each country at a very low cost. So, just to wrap up this video, we have checked out all the reasons for taking operations to a global level, and we have checked out the 4 world-class operations strategies, that is international, world projection, multinational and transnational. I thank you for your attention and I'll be seeing you in our next video.